I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is an open meeting of the Seward, Nebraska governing body. The City of Seward abides by the Nebraska Open Meetings Act in conducting business. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is displayed on the north wall of this meeting room facility as required. Disclosure of meeting recording process is posted in the meeting room. A participant sign-in sheet is available for use by any citizen addressing the council. Presenters shall approach the podium, say their name and address for the clerk's record, and are asked to limit remarks to 5 minutes. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor, who shall determine by whom any appropriate response shall be made. The City of Seward reserves the right to adjust the order of items on this agenda if necessary, and may elect to take action on any of the items listed. The city attorney is en route and should be here shortly. Please call the roll.
Wilken, Beck. Here. Camprus, Fritz.
Here.
Pike.
Here.
Singleton.
Here.
Schmidt. Hens.
Here.
All right. First item, consideration of approval of draft minutes of July 7, 2015.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Hens, motion carried.
Thank you. Item number 2, consideration of consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, motion, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Hens, motion carried.
All right. Item number 3A and item number 3B is the appointment of Jonathan Wilken, our newest council member, to 2 committees that were previously, the positions were previously held by Charles Liskey. The first one, 3A, is appointment to the Community Redevelopment Authority, or the CRA, for tax increment financing. I entertain a motion to approve the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Hens, Singleton, Pike, Beck, missing Fritz, motion carried. It's hard to skip over.
Sitting right here. All right, item 3B, this is the appointment of Jonathan to the Community Development Block Grant, the CDBG Application Review Board for Economic Development, which is the Program Loan Reuse Fund. This is a 3-year term, also to replace Charles Liskey. I entertain a motion to approve the appointment.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Hens, motion carried.
All right, thank you. Item number 4, this is a public hearing. This is to review the functioning and progress of the Seward Economic Development Program, also known as LD 840, funded by local city sales tax. Do we have someone here? Yes, welcome. Come forward and please present to the council.
My name's Greg Walls, and I'm on this committee, and my address is 726 Vader Avenue here in Seward. If you have any questions, you should have a copy of the review committee's report from our last meeting. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
Sure. Any questions, Mr. Waltz? Looks like you might get off early, or get off easy and early tonight.
Thank you.
Seeing none, but if you just hold on 1 second, it is a public hearing, so I would open this portion up to the public if anyone would like to make any public comments on item number 4. Seeing no one from the public wishing to comment, I'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the public hearing and return back to the council unless there's any other questions or comments from the council. I would entertain a motion to accept the report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the report. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Hens, motion carried.
All right, thank you. Item number 5, this is also a public hearing. Consideration of amending the area within the city to be standard and blighted and in need of redevelopment. Ed is here to talk on this as well. But just to kind of explain, this has already gone through the, go ahead Ed, come on up. This has been through the planning commission, is that correct, Ed?
Correct.
Was there a vote, I assume, on this?
There was.
And the vote was?
They recommended approval.
Okay. And basically the reason we do this is as part of the Community Redevelopment Authority, or TIF, is we have to designate areas as such in order for them to then qualify to apply for the TIF. Without that, they can't be TIF eligible, period. And so this was part of the rail campus proposal, was that in order for any of the entities on that site to qualify, or at least be able to apply for TIF, that property needed to be designated as such. And so that's why this has to be updated periodically. Ed, did you have anything you want to add to that?
Basically, RDG submitted your blight area designation report, identifying the additional legal description of the areas and the total acres. We're currently at approximately 29% total acres of the total city acres that we have.
And that's capped at 35.
Max is 35%.
So you can't ever go above 35. Now you
Correct.
can, if you get to the point where you're at the lid, you can remove portions out of it and bring in portions, but you can't at one time have more than 35%.
And we're currently at approximately 29% of that.
And also, just to clarify too, with part of the western half of this property in question at the rail campus site is not in city limits. So even with this, if this were adopted tonight, it does not qualify for any, it does not mean that the TIF would qualify because it has to be annexed into the city. So this is just one of those many steps, and this step has to occur in order to keep the other steps moving forward. So I'll stop interrupting you, Ed, if you want to keep going.
That's correct.
But you can say that as many times as you want. There's no limit on that.
We did publish notice of public hearing in the newspaper. We're not per state statute required to notify the property owners affected, but we did give them a courtesy call to advise them of the public hearing tonight.
Are there any questions from the council at this time? Yeah.
Was there any negativity when you called?
None. Just a question what blight meant. And I explained to them it qualifies the land for being TIF eligible for projects.
And that's a stat. There's been a lot of discussion on the state level about what it means to say something's blighted because it sounds worse than, it's really just a term of art. It's a legal term that the legislature, and in fact they've been exploring different ways of referring to the property because it's really meant for redevelopment, but they give it that name, and it sometimes upsets people because they think that's going to affect their property values. It's really just more or less a term of art to qualify for as a possible TIF project. Ellen?
The acres that are not within the city limit, they count against the cap?
They do,
Okay. So,
with the intent of that area being annexed for,
but right now, even though it's not annexed, they still count against 35%.
correct,
That's a 2 mile, right?
correct.
I'll go ahead and open the public comment portion of the public hearing, and then I'll come back to the council again. Does anyone from the public wish to come up and comment on this, or ask, or have any questions on item 5? Okay, you're good. Okay. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the public hearing. I'll go back to the council. Yeah. Ed?
Can I have a follow-up? I'm sorry. Are there any other areas within the city limits that you anticipate we would be needing to do this for, to make sure that a TIF application could come in?
Nothing's been identified currently, but any additional areas have to be contiguous to the boundary areas that currently exist.
Okay. But nothing's on the horizon that would need,
Not that I'm aware of.
okay, thank you.
We typically will kind of bundle them, and as we know projects might be coming up, and then we'll just do one of these at a time. At this time, it was just because with the rail campus going on that it made sense to get this and any of the other ones that would be considered all done at one time, and then we'll keep collecting parcels on paper until we have another opportunity in the future, once we know projects that are going to be happening, so, yeah, you know.
You can do this at any time now?
As far as amending this, I believe so. I don't believe there's any limitation on when you can do it. We try to be efficient and kind of group them if we can. So. Any other questions? Otherwise, I would ask if someone would introduce the resolution.
I'll introduce the resolution.
The resolution has been introduced and is designated as resolution number 2015-18. Would anyone like to move that this resolution be passed and adopted?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
In favor of the motion, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Hughes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 6 is consideration of a plan for stormwater runoff and sanitary sewer improvements for St. John's New Daycare Center to be located at Hillcrest Drive and Columbia Avenue. Bruce, did you want to?
Yeah, we'll just, St. John's came to the council, I believe, last month to talk about this project that they were working on. And at the last meeting, the council approved, and in your packet, you've got the pictures, but approved 2 and 3 at a reduced price of $52,000. So now we're on to the projects 1, 4, and 5. Project 1 has already been done, relocating the existing 8-inch sanitary sewer. Talking with Tim, the water sanitation superintendent, that project he believes did not really benefit the city because it was a private move. The sewer needed to be moved for a private project, so it was our recommendation that we don't participate in that one. It was something, again, that was not budgeted for. So that's one of the issues. And then the other one, 4 and 5, the new 48-inch storm sewer removing of the existing, and then the new 48-inch that's abandoning an existing. The idea then is to put in a holding cell up there on the north edge across the street from the daycare. That could be beneficial to try to get some water off that street so that it doesn't come down and get down below where it seems to pool really bad and puddle, or go over the edges and stuff like that. But again, this is something that's new that we haven't really had time to really get up there and look at very closely. It's something that came up pretty fast. We don't have that money budgeted, so my recommendation on that is that we table that part of the conversation until we have more time to look at this and make sure, again, we have to, when we budget, we have to go through and determine what our biggest needs are at the time, and we just want to make sure that this is one of our biggest ones so we can budget for it in the upcoming budget session.
And I assume that would be part of the capital improvement project
Yes.
process.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've talked about hydrology studies in the past, so I assume we would have an hydrology study, either one that's been done or we would have one done so that we know, one, is what's being proposed sufficient for what we're trying to accomplish, and if not, does it still make sense? But then, like Bruce said, we'll have to put that up against other projects and prioritize what that need is. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Bruce, the cost sharing agreement, I was told by Pastor Berg that was gonna come in significantly less than what was proposed at the initial time when the church came to ask for assistance.
Well, there really wasn't any cost share agreement. They wanted us to pay on this number 1, and then they would give us the land up here for the retention cell. If we would pay for half of the storm sewer, or of the sanitary sewer relocation, they were going to do that. And so when I told them today what my recommendation was going to be, then they said, well, then we probably won't give you that land up there. So I'm not sure. But yeah, 2 and 3 came in at half the price of us, to rebuild that sewer line, put in the new sewer pipe that you approved at the last meeting. That came in at half of what they had anticipated the cost would be, the estimate. So that did come in $50,000 less.
So that would reduce the city's portion should it choose to participate to about 25?
That was already approved though, correct?
Yeah, we already approved that one.
Yeah.
So that one's done. Should be working on it pretty quick. So we'd still have that 52,377 for the sanitary sewer. And then the 321 for the storm sewer.
What is the church at this moment requesting we pay? How much?
52,000 for the relocation of the existing 8-inch sanitary sewer that they've already relocated, because they already had to do it for the old new building. So 52,000, and then the 321,000 for the storm sewer. That's what they're requesting,
From the city?
yes.
Okay, that's not what my understanding was, okay. That they were just requesting, at the time of the last one, they were requesting just half of $100,000 and some thousand.
Okay, that was, I think that was for the 50,000 that he referenced, and that was going to be in exchange then for the land, across the street if the city were then to put a retention cell
Okay.
in.
To me, that wasn't made clear the last time we
Okay.
discussed this, that they would talk to us about that retention pond, but that they were just making a clear request for assistance in paying for the relocation of the line.
I don't know.
300,000 didn't come up.
And 300,000, I have no idea where that comes up.
That's part of their cost. I thought they gave this to the council at a meeting in June. That's what they said anyway, so I apologize. I thought you all, and it's in your packet. It's in your packet too.
But they never came up with anything beyond splitting that 100 and change. And that is what I was told has been downgraded to about 50,000, so the split would be maybe 25,000 if we were to split it in half. And to me, at the last meeting, it was never attached to the retention pond. The retention pond was a discussion, but it was never, unless I'm truly misunderstanding it, was never attached to the financing deal. So I'm very confused.
Well, I understand that. The storm sewer is something that hasn't been started and hasn't been done. The relocation of the existing 8-inch sanitary sewer that they want half paid for, that's been done.
There's dirt
And
work.
that is 52,000.
There's dirt work already on that northeast side.
They've been putting dirt up in there or removing dirt. They have been doing dirt work up there, you're right, but that's,
That's not part of the retention cell, that's just to get, I assume to get the dirt out of the way for their.
yeah, I think they're just using
Construction.
it to store dirt right now. But that isn't, I mean, yeah, that's a project that hasn't been done. This other one that I would think is probably their main thing would be the number one, the relocation, and that's $104,000, and they want us to pay half of that. Now, I don't know if the confusion, Ellen, is that when we replaced the existing one, so we wouldn't have to go back in after the building was built, that was originally estimated at $98,000. And then the engineers came back and they said, well, the contractor said he could do it for 50.
Right, I
So-
talked with Pastor Burke on this.
So that's where that went, that's where that got cut in half.
So and I said specifically to him, I said, does that mean your request to the city would be cut in half? And his indication was yes.
Well, that was all ours, so I'm not sure. I'll talk to him again about this, but it's my understanding these numbers were still good. They brought me these numbers last week.
Okay.
So my understanding, these numbers are still good. The 52,377 that they would pay and the 52,377 that they're asking us to on the sanitary sewer.
And I think
Right, just
among-
on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah, just on the one, right,
And that's the only thing I'm really referencing here, is
Mhm.
because the financial request is linked to that.
right.
And I believe the request was reimbursement at this point, because they were planning on doing
Right.
these anyway with the exception of the retention cell.
Right.
And so if it'd be helpful, we were just trying to get this on the agenda so we could give them an answer sooner than later, but, if it would be helpful, you could table this and then we could, Bruce can go talk with the church as well as the engineers to make sure these numbers are what we thought they were, and maybe they can be here.
I thought Jeff was gonna be here tonight,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Yeah.
So we can, maybe revisit it at a later date, just so I just wanna make sure we're all on the same page and there's no
Yeah,
surprises or confusion. So if that's the desire of the council, I should entertain the motion to table this, unless you want to move forward with it.
I think the sanitary sewer, we have no choice. I think we're gonna do the sanitary because that was part of the part of the process. We understood that, but that,
Yeah, the one that the council's already
Yeah,
approved,
yeah.
I think that's a separate one.
Yeah.
I think we can approve A, but we can't approve B. That's what we're talking
Right,
about.
right.
Which one was that?
So are these two separate motions?
Yeah.
Well, A is to pay for part of the relocation that they've already done. And that's the one that we felt like it really wasn't our responsibility to move it.
Okay.
Well, honestly, if you read Pastor Burrick's letter, the extent of the impact of that child development center is huge in Seward. And in fact, most of the children who attend families don't belong to St. John. It provides a much-needed resource for the city. There are very few other major outlets for this type of childcare, and I'm not gonna get into how important all that is to children, but I really think that it goes well. St. John is a huge parish. It goes well beyond just their borders. So I think there is a significant city benefit from us making sure that we have a facility like this to offer. Not to mention that you could tie it back into Concordia because of the student teaching and all those other programs.
Would it make sense rather than try to piecemeal this now, just to table both of these and maybe come back once we have a chance to?
Well, I don't know, the other one, we can move on, to table A and to move on B.
I think we probably would wanna table both of them at this point, and then we can sit down with the church and engineers and make sure that we're all on the same page, so there isn't any confusion moving forward. If that's the desire of the council, would someone like to make the motion to table both items 6A and 6B?
I'll make the motion that we table A and B.
Second?
Need a motion and a second, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Putting in favor, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Timms, motion carries.
Alright, thank you. Item number 7, this is consideration of a non-binding letter of intent regarding the project. Hot Mill, Darrell Nauman, who is formerly with the city of Lincoln and currently with Airs and Airs, is here to explain this letter and answer any questions you might have.
Darrell Nauman, 2436 North 48th Street, Lincoln, Nebraska. Like Josh said, I was a former director of business development for the state of Nebraska. I did business development under Mike Johans and also under Ben Nelson, and then moved over to the city of Lincoln and did the city of Lincoln for about 7 years before moving to Airs and Airs. The letters of intent were common for economic development projects. I encountered them a lot at the state level. We didn't write that, we watched cities write the letters of intent, and what we did was we brokered the letters of intent between the city and the owners. I find myself doing that again, brokering the letter between the city and the owner of the project. What I gave to Josh and to Jonathan was an example of the letter that I wrote to a company coming into Lincoln, Nebraska. And what we did was we changed that, the mayor changed that into his own language, and it's truly a non-binding letter. If you want a context, it's more of a marriage proposal. It's we want to be married to the city of Seward. We would like you to say that you would like to be married to us. Any kind of engagement like that can always be broken off. It's non-binding, and then the next step is we move into the redevelopment plan and the redevelopment agreement, and that's when we actually decide what the dowry is, whether you do 2 chickens and a goat or whatever you do, to bargain for the final TIF in the project. The letter, as we wrote it, I visited with some city council people who are not here today, but I visited with them this afternoon. They had some concerns with the opening language, and it says the city of Seward is committed to having your company become the flagship industry of the Seward-Lincoln Regional Rail Campus. What I talked with the owners about was a compromise language, And it said the city of Seward is determined to have this company be a part of the Seward. And we also talked back and forth. That's another language. The owners were fine with that change, but Josh this afternoon said we would consider the committed this evening. So we're fine with both of those, but that's the language that we're presenting anyway. Questions?
Do you have any questions?
I think I'm definitely more comfortable with determined over committed. I'm not ready for marriage. I'll date for a while yet, but that's about it until we get some more information.
Sure.
You know, I don't want to, and committed seems to go against the whole rest of the letter where we say this is not a commitment. So to be clear, and so that no one is you know, confused going forward, I think changing the word would be a very good idea.
And that's fine, and I made sure that it was determined so that it still has the force of wanting to partner with us to go back and forth on negotiations, and I believe that they can take this to their partners and to their consortium in Connecticut and move through the financing piece, and they're comfortable with that as well.
Any other questions or comments? John?
I want Kelly's opinion on it. As far as the wording and,
from a legal standpoint, I don't see much of a difference, and I'm not concerned about whether or not it's determined or committed. It is a non-binding letter of intent, so it's not legally binding.
Just more of a comfort level.
Yeah, it's more of a comfort level for the business as they move into their negotiations with their partners. This company is spending quite a bit of money right now. They've already signed a contract with us at Ayers and Ayers. We're doing a lot of the work that we're doing, design and engineering. And as the program goes forward, they will spend more and more money all of the time, and they want to make sure that their partners are comfortable that Seward is committed to having or determined to have this company located in this particular spot.
And like Darwin mentioned, with the blighted map being updated this evening, as well as if this LOI is adopted or passed, then we're working then through the TIF process next, and so that is where a lot of the questions that people have as far as the financing and everything from what the TIF funds would be utilized for, what trees they may have out front, or what, all the way down to whatever detail the council wants to go. That will be part of the redevelopment plan, which will start at the CRA level and the planning commission level, and then work its way up to the council. So that's really the part that is the binding part of this, assuming that it's adopted. So that's where a lot of the meat and potatoes are going to be found. But this, again, one of those steps that have to happen to keep everything else moving forward.
And as a public body, I'm guessing if it's like every other city that I've worked with, you'll have at least 5 votes to put this in place, from the redevelopment agreement tonight's, the blight study, the redevelopment agreement, the bond ordinance, the redevelopment plan, and then the annexation. You're going to have lots of votes.
And the execution of the options as well. So there will be plenty of opportunities for the council then moving forward to make sure that it's shaping up the way they're expecting it to. So, any other questions? I know some people are here this evening on this item. It's not a public hearing, but if people are here to speak on this item, you're sure welcome to come up. Just kind of raise your hand and, yeah, go ahead. And state your name and address so we have a complete record.
Sure. Jessica Coulterman. I live at 1059 Plainview in your district, over in part of Seward. For those of you who don't know me, I am president and owner of JK Consulting here in Seward. I'm also a member of the Seward County Economic Development Group and the Seward Area Development Corporation and the Chamber. I come before you tonight as an interested citizen who re-engaged in these efforts to help grow Seward. And what I've discovered is there's not a lot of opportunities to create jobs in a community of this size. Things like this don't fall in your lap as a community often. And so really just wanted to be here tonight to show support. Wanted to just talk to you about kind of the way I see this from a public relations standpoint, which is what I do for a living. I think that showing support in a letter of commitment goes a long ways to say to this company, we're excited about you coming here. We're excited to show you that we're open for business, and we want to partner with you and be in this effort together as we explore the possibility. And really, I see this letter as being just that, an opportunity to further consider this and to continue to have this conversation. I think my biggest fear is if, eventually we don't sign some kind of letter as a community that says we want to pursue this, is that we might be sending a message that maybe we aren't open for business and we aren't wanting to pursue economic development at the rail campus. And I think with the level of jobs that they're considering, there's a really great opportunity here to show a commitment to growing that rail campus, something that we've been talking about for a long time and haven't really had that opportunity to do. So I think this gives us that opportunity. Also, we'll be moving forward with other partners, such as the Department of Economic Development and the TIF board and all these groups that have to work to move it forward. So I think it really gives you the time to look at all the considerations and just shows a good faith effort to this company that's looking to come in. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and thank you for having me tonight.
Any questions for Jessica? Seeing none, thank you.
Thanks.
Does anyone else from the public wish to comment on this item? Yeah, go ahead, come on up. Again, state your name and your address for our record.
Gerald Hom, owner of Bottle Rocket Brewing Company in Seward, 1210 Eastridge in Seward. Yeah, this is a great opportunity, I think, as a new business owner, and this is all new to you as I am new. We are employing people too, and we see this as an opportunity for an employer to employ more people here. I really can't say anything more than Jessica. She did a great job. Thank you, Jessica.
That's why you should go first next time.
That's why she went first. But I really do appreciate the excitement around this, and this letter just shows me that we are committed to this kind of a rail campus, if you will, and that's an important aspect. First of all, it's kind of selfish of me to say that because this will only bring in, we're talking about 150 employees, but you're looking at more than that. You're looking at families. You're looking at all sorts of opportunities. You're talking about the CDC. I mean, wow, there's an opportunity there. Things are just going to flourish and just get a lot bigger and better with this opportunity. And granted, if you want to call it a flagship, that's fine. But we'd love to have it here because I think this will expand not only the businesses here in Seward, but including my business as well. So we appreciate that. Yeah, I would definitely encourage the council to absolutely take the step.
Thank you. Any questions for Gerald? Say no. Thank you. Is anyone else from the public? Yes, go ahead. Again, please state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Diana Garski, 432 South Columbia, here in Seward. Just a couple comments. I also serve on the Board of Commissioners, and each of us had an opportunity to attend a meet and greet. We haven't discussed this in a public meeting, but just the feedback was very positive. I think we're really encouraged. I also serve on the Seward County Economic Board, and from wearing that hat, I'm very excited and would just like to put a ditto mark on everything that's been said so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Does anyone else from the public wish to comment on this item number 7? And then we'll bring it back to the council. Any other questions or comments from the council at this time? And I was just going to clarify what Darla had mentioned about the language. I was working with the rail site committee, which includes, Barb and Chris, and the question came up from Chris regarding the word commitment. And when we were trying to figure out a different word, they proposed the, what was the word again? Determined as an alternative, and Chris didn't feel that was any better, and so that's the reason why I didn't propose that as a change. I stuck with what was the original letter, but just wanted to clarify what Darla was talking about. But the council, at this point, if you have any questions or comments, otherwise I can entertain a motion, depending if you wanted to adopt the letter as it currently is, or if you wanted to suggest alternative language, or kind of give me some direction on what it is you wanted to do. Yes.
I'd like to move that we approve the letter with a change of wording in the first sentence from is committed to is determined. I think determined is more consistent with the rest of the language in the letter. It still conveys our serious interest and intent to move forward and to gather more information and to do our due diligence. And I think, either way, we have, as you say, said that we are open for business. So I'd like to make the motion to approve pending that change in language.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your vote. Please display the vote.
In favor of the motion, Beck, Fritz, White, Singleton, Janice, motion carried.
Thank you. Item number 8, this is consideration of supplemental agreement number 1 with JEO Consulting Group Incorporated for NDOR Carroll K Boulevard Bader Hillcrest project for engineering and design of mitigation plan and site. I believe Mel Aldrich is here to answer any questions. Item 8A, that's the consideration of a resolution approving supplemental agreement number 1 with JEO Consulting Group for Carroll K Boulevard Bader Hillcrest project for engineering and design of mitigation plan and site, which I've just now read twice. So, I guess before Mel goes into this, are there any questions or comments on this?
I know about a month ago, I was here, but John kind of gave me that information, we just rerouted the sidewalk area, and that's what we're doing here in mitigating some wetland area, 1.3 acres. And this is just a supplement agreement. It's not an addition to what we need to construct, it's just re-changing our route on that sidewalk. And this is an agreement so our consultants can go ahead and do the engineering and design on it, so get that started. It's just a process we have to go through with federal aid projects. Just get this wetland mitigation taken care of first before we can start doing anything else.
Any questions or comments?
Move for approval.
I got a question.
Well, hang on 1 second. We had a motion,
Yeah.
but for the resolution,
Oh,
I need
introduce.
someone to introduce the resolution. If you wanna wait until he asks a question, or do you wanna pursue?
I'll go ahead and introduce. 'Cause
Okay.
she's good.
I'll get to you in a second, I gotta follow procedures here. Okay. The resolution has been introduced and is designated as resolution number 2015-19. Would anyone like to move that this resolution be passed and adopted?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Did you wanna add something?
No, exactly, just so my neighbors know exactly what's going on, what is the change that you're proposing?
Well, what was proposed before was with the street going on the west side, I didn't know that wetland area where all the trees were, that was just gonna skirt that west side. But we're gonna have the street there, but we're taking that sidewalk that was on the east side of the street and rerouting it on the east side and meet up with the trail. It just ties in a lot better and tying with the trail where people will walk on the sidewalk and then they'll take that route and go onto the trail. That was the only thing. It's a less impact for wetland mitigation from that other first design next to the street. This is way less so it's a little bit easier to design and construct for us, so.
Now, none of this will come onto our property that we own then?
No, this is on the way to the east, right, just way to the east. Yeah.
Cause I know there was some conflict boundary line was exactly.
Yeah, well, everything's all on the city property, and this is farther east from your property, just on the other side of the street, correct?
Okay, that's all I
You good, Dave? Okay. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Haynes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is item number 9, consideration, approval, or disapproval of proposed settlement of all pending claims by Brett Baker against the city of Seward. Kelly Hofstetter, if you wanna.
Yeah, so, this agenda item, considers a settlement with, Mr. Baker on all of his, claims that he has, pending against, the city of Seward. With us this evening is Randy Guyette, who is the defense counsel hired by, EMC. And I would recommend that, the council move to go into closed session to, discuss the contents of the proposal. And I have the proposed language here that I would recommend that you, move to approve. So, I would suggest that the city council go into closed session with the mayor, myself, and Mr. Guyette, for the protection of the public interest and pursuant to Nebraska Stat 84-1410 subsection 1, to discuss the contents of agenda item 9, which constitutes pending litigation or litigation imminent as evidenced by communication of a claim or threat of litigation against the city for a period of 30 minutes.
You say no longer than 30 minutes?
Yes, for a period of no longer than 30 minutes.
So would someone like to make that motion? Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking for someone to make that motion.
I will move,
Okay, Dee makes the motion.
I won't repeat it, but.
That's okay. I don't think you have to. I think Kelly was.
I'll second that on the record.
Motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Haynes, motion carries.
Then before we go anywhere, see here. The mayor has to restate on the record immediately prior to the closed session the limitation of the subject matter of the closed session. So the motion is that the city council will go into closed session with the mayor, the city attorney, and with our attorney Randy Guyette for the protection of the public interest and pursuant to Nebraska revised statute section 84-1410 sub 1 to discuss pending litigation or litigation which is imminent as evidenced by communication of a claim or threat of litigation against the city of Seward for a period of not to exceed 30 minutes.
We'll kick him out if it's over 30.
We're gonna be more comfortable out here.
Have a good time.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Where to go, straight back through there?
No, I get to meetings and that's about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for being here.
Out of closed session.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
All in favor, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Singleton, Haynes, motion carries.
Okay. And just to recap, no formal action was taken in our closed session. Do I need to restate anything else? No? Okay. All right. So Kelly, did you wanna?
So what's before you is the proposed settlement agreement with Mr. Baker as set forth in the agenda item number 9. I would suggest that you, if you are making a motion to approve of the terms as set forth in agenda item 9, make that motion for approval consistent with the language in agenda item 9 and direct the mayor to execute any and all documents associated with such a settlement.
And move for approval,
Okay.
based on the language of our city attorney.
Okay. We have a motion.
Yeah, just go ahead and try your best to restate it.
Could you just, how about just read the,
Yeah, I can just
could you read A?
consideration and approval or disapproval, but we're approving the proposed settlement of all pending claims by Brett Baker against the city of Seward per city attorney Kelly Hofstetter.
You put a sum of $50,000.
sum of $50,000, excluding from the city of all liability. Is that what you think we should be doing?
Just read item
I did. And A,
A. Oh, yeah, item A, yep,
Yeah.
underneath it,
Yeah.
just read that.
the proposed agreement will result in the settlement of Mr. Baker's contract claims, tort claims, civil right claims, Department of Labor claims, and all other claims asserted under the proposed settlement agreement. The city will pay to Mr. Baker the sum of $50,000, less all customary and usual withholdings, and the city's insurance carrier will pay to or on behalf of Mr. Baker the sum of $50,000, a proportion of which will be paid directly to his attorney.
And you're gonna direct that the mayor execute any and all documents associated with the settlement.
And then we will direct the mayor to follow through with all settlements.
You have
Second.
a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, motion carried. Fritz, Pike, Seaman, Ham, motion carried.
All right, thank you. Item number 10, brief city administrator's report.
Well, I just put a report in there just so you all kind of know what's going on. If you have any questions, I'll answer them now. There is one other thing is Charles had applied for a grant for the Jones Bank building over here to allow the city to buy it or something like that.
It's part of the Langworthy Trust.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we didn't get that grant, so that's a moot point.
All right, just want to let you know that we did get denied on that. So, any other questions or comments for Bruce? Yeah.
Are we gonna go back down another avenue to find some other means to follow that process?
That was
Or
really
did
something
you-
that Charles with the chamber had taken up, and I don't know that whether it's the Civic Center Commission or the chamber has any other plans to pursue that. I don't know that there's a clear revenue source to try to acquire the building, even with a partial donation. So at this point, we're not pursuing anything unless someone has an idea on what would make the most sense.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I would just take a motion to accept the city administrator's report.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Beck, Fritz, Pike, Seaman, Ham, motion carried.
All right, item 11, are there any future requests for council agenda items?
Did anybody advertise for the position at the senior center?
I met with Emily yesterday and we are gonna advertise that. It'll go in next week's paper.
Are there any requests for future agenda items? Seeing none, then we'll move on to 12. I don't have any upcoming events. If in the future you do know of something going on from your circles that you guys are all traveling, just let me know. Yeah, did you have
Can I
something?
add one?
Yeah, of course.
Blue Valley Community Action is holding its annual Fill the Backpack event, meaning it's collecting the school supplies for needy kids in Seward County on Saturday from 11 to 1 in the Civic Center. Co-sponsored and hosted by the League of Women Voters. Full disclosure, I am president of the Seward County League of Women Voters. But we're doing this to help Kelsey Peterson. She's a brand new director at our Blue Valley, and it's a really good cause.
Okay. Any other announcements? Yes, Dick.
Major General Boac from the National Guard, he was here last Friday and toured his brothers
Oh,
and met with Ted and John, and then he met with all the people that had something to do with the memorial.
yeah,
But he also toured the plant with him, so.
nice. Any other announcements? Seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Please register your votes. Please display the votes.